system will boot into OB mode, and you'll answer a few questions. Just hit next, and at this point you'll enter the product key. The product key is attached to the top left hand side of the server. Go ahead and type that in. If not, you could always do it later. Review Microsoft's terms and licensing and accept. And then set up the administrative password for the system. This will be the only administrative password, and Arxys is enabled to reset this, so make sure you don't forget what it is. The system will finalize some settings and present you with the login screen. Go ahead on the keyboard and type, hit Control Delete. We're going to do it a little differently here because we're doing remote. Go ahead and type in that password and hit enter, and the system will log in for the first time. Now, a few things are going to pop up on the first run. Don't worry about that. That won't happen every time, but Server Manager will pop up. Some people like to use this, other people don't like to have it on. You can have it not show again by clicking here, closing the window, and just closing the dashboard altogether. You really don't need it. This screen in the back just redetects sensors on the system. It only does that once. You can go ahead and close it. And now for ACC, the first thing we need to do is disable Microsoft's built-in antivirus software. So we just go to the antivirus section of the control panel, look for the settings, and we're just going to turn off real-time protection, and we'll come back to this, so just minimize that window for now. Go ahead and click next, and for this demo we're not going to install the camera firmware, so just keep going, hit next, and this is actually in real time. You'll get some messages. Our box isn't quite connected to our update server, so it's going to give us a few messages. Yours should not. Go ahead and install ACC per normal, and it'll take a few moments to install. It's relatively quick. Yeah, and one of the reason we disable the antivirus capabilities of Windows before we do this is that as Avigilon or ACC writes to that disk, it scans every tiny little file it creates, and it creates thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of files. So we just disable that to get through that hump. ACC's documentation also makes exceptions, so that's just how Avigilon works. In this case, the installer detected our volume and configured it already. We're just going to go ahead and hit next, and actually now it's the time where it actually writes, for lack of a better term, the Avigilon file system and database and a few other items that are required. This will take a few minutes, so depending on the capacity of your Arxys server, might be 5 minutes, might be 10. Usually we just push it off to the side and finish installing the Control Center client, as we're doing here. Accept that, next, install, and typically they install about the same time. Go ahead and finish, and what we're going to do here is just double check that the antivirus software didn't re-enable itself. We've seen this happen a couple of times. Usually there's some group policy that gets pushed. In our case, we don't have any group policy, but that might be something in your deployment. So we just take a break here and let it write the storage configuration. Alright, now it's done, and we actually already installed the control client, so we'll hit no. And now ACC is starting, and we'll launch the control client. I can close these windows in the back. And basically, if there's another site already, go ahead and type in the host name of the IP address. In this case, it's a single system, so we'll just click on the top left Video Enterprise server. The default password is blank, so just hit login, and then ACC will ask you to set a password. Again, Arxys has no control over this password, so on our password that meets their password requirements, we're going to go a little extra here and just double up on our testing password, and now it's super secure. And we'll log in and we'll get a prompt saying our system isn't licensed, which it's not licensed from the beginning. Just right click again on VideoX Ent, hit setup, and head over to the license management section. This is where you'd hit add a license and enter your license that you got from Avigilon. We're just going to demo it real quick, so we'll pick enterprise, activate now, and now we have 300 camera license. We'll go ahead and close that, and that's about it. The only thing we need to do is remember to re-enable our antivirus. So we'll go back to that window we left open by minimizing and enabling this, turning on real-time protection again, scrolling down to the bottom where we can add an exclusion. And we'll add an exclusion, it'll be a folder exclusion, and we'll browse to the Avigilon data folder that it created during install. We'll just select that, select folder, and that completes the installation of ACC7 on Arxys VideoX Appliance.